Welcome back to the Sports News Analysis YouTube channel, where I'm always breaking down the hot sports topics of the day. My name is Mike. We're continuing my 2013 NFL mock draft with round 1, picks 21 through 32. Again, if it's your first time listening, I'll be doing all 7 rounds on a 7-round mock draft right here on my YouTube channel, so be sure to subscribe. And as I upload the videos, guys, they'll get uploaded directly to your feed here on YouTube. I'm always covering the NFL and other sports as well on a daily basis. Let's get right to it. Pick number 21. The Bengals hold pick number 21. I think they have a pretty glaring need in the secondary, most notably at safety, a player to go along with Reggie Nelson there in the defensive backfield. I like for them to take Kenny Vaccaro, the free safety out of Texas. Vaccaro did not do as well at his pro day, at the combine as expected. Given that he has a pretty solid workout in his pro day, I think he'll still be a solid first-round pick. He could potentially go higher than this. I just don't see a team with a glaring need at safety before they pick at 21. So I think they could get lucky here and have a guy like Vaccaro, a good player, ball hawk, can play in the box a little bit if you need him to. Vaccaro at pick number 21. To the Bengals. Pick 22 belongs to the Rams. At pick 16, I had them taking Jonathan Cooper, the guard, out of North Carolina. I think with this pick, they address their wide receiver need. I think they get a big target. You know, what they're going to do with Danny Amendola still remains to be seen. They did take a couple of receivers last year in the draft as well, but I still think they need to solidify that position with no one really stepping forward last year besides Amendola. So I like Cordarelle Patterson, the wide receiver from Tennessee, to be the pick here. You know, as far as where people have wide receivers ranked on their board, you're going to see Cordarelle Patterson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Keenan Allen and Tavon Austin be in that top 4 mix. I just think the Rams need a big sort of potential playmaker receiver rather than a quick slot guy. So that's why I'm going with Cordarelle Patterson here at pick number 22 for the Vikings. Pick 23, another team in need of a receiver, the Vikings at pick number 23. There's a lot of, sort of rumors that maybe they're looking to move Percy Harvin, who's going to demand a big contract. Even if they don't move Percy Harvin, I still think they need a receiver to go opposite him, someone to help Christian Ponder in his development, someone to certainly maybe take some of the focus of every defense off of Adrian Peterson, as Harvin will do as well once he's back fully healthy. So I like to pick here to be DeAndre Hopkins, the wide receiver from Clemson. He on the other hand had a very good combine, sort of separated himself from the other receivers. I like him as a fit. DeAndre Hopkins, number 23 overall, to the Vikings. The 24th pick belongs to the Colts. The Colts, of course, again, a playoff team from last year. Ryan Grigson doing an excellent job both in the draft and in free agency last year. Expect them to do the same this year. I think they need to build some depth across that defensive line. I think that was a problem last year. So I look for them to go to defensive tackle, more specifically Kawann Short, the defensive tackle out of Purdue. He's a local guy there in Indiana. Should be a guy that the Colts are very familiar with, having played his college ball in West Lafayette. Again, Short is a guy who did not participate in the combine, nor his pro day, because his pro day was actually March 1st, the Friday right after the combine. But I think he's a guy that he's good enough. You're going to be able to see on tape what you need to see. And as long as the medical report comes back good on him, I still expect him to go in the first round. So Kawann Short, the defensive tackle from Purdue, at pick number 24 here. Pick number 25 belongs to the Seahawks. You might look at the Seahawks roster and say, well, what does this team need? You know, they nailed all 3 of their first 3 picks last year with Bruce Irvin on the defensive line, Bobby Wagner at linebacker, and of course Russell Wilson at quarterback. So where do they go from here? I think they go on the offensive side of the ball for a slot receiver. A slot receiver that definitely separated himself at the combine when he ran a 4.25 40, I believe it was, and that's Tavon Austin, the wide receiver from West Virginia. You know, Austin is, a lot of people compare him to Percy Harvin. He's even smaller than Percy Harvin. He's about 20 pounds lighter than Percy Harvin, but he's lightning quick. He's a playmaker. If you watch his tape, he's a guy who can flat out make plays. He's not one of these smaller gimmick guys who can only return for you. He's a legit factor in the pass game. He can obviously be a legit factor in the return game. Leon Washington getting a little bit up there in age. He'd be a perfect replacement for him, returning kicks and punts. And I like the overall fitted receiver. Tavon Austin at pick number 25 to the Vikings. Pick 26 belongs to the Packers. If you watch the NFC divisional round game that they played against the 49ers, I think it's pretty obvious that the Packers are in need of some speed there in their linebacking core. That's why I like them to take Arthur Brown, the linebacker out of Kansas State. Arthur Brown is a guy that is a quality guy. I think he's the top 20 talent in this draft. But I think with so many teams looking for 3-4 edge rushers, guys who can maybe play defensive end and outside linebacker in a 3-4, I think this is where you find Arthur Brown, a 4-3 linebacker, sort of slip here a little bit. And I think he's a perfect match for what the Packers are looking for here at pick number 26. So give me Arthur Brown, the linebacker from Kansas State, at number 26 here for the Packers. Pick 27, it belongs to the Houston Texans. You know, the Texans got off to a blistering start last year, faded a little bit down the stretch, played a little bit better in the playoffs, winning a game in the playoffs, eventually losing in the divisional round. Andre Johnson is a great receiver. He started off slow last year, came on towards the end of the year and put up phenomenal numbers. He's not getting old, but he's on the other side of 30 now, and I think to get a guy to go opposite him and to give Matt Schaub another weapon to throw to. I mean, the Texans' offense pretty much now is Arian Foster or Andre Johnson. I think a lot of teams were trying their best to take those two away and sort of limited Matt Schaub's effectiveness because of it. Wide receiver, I think, is the pick here for the Texans. Keenan Allen, the wide receiver from Cal. I know as far as, a lot of times with this mock draft, I pick who I think teams will pick. I think Keenan Allen is a guy that I might even think is the best receiver in this draft as far as a playmaker goes on the outside to make an instant impact for a team. And I think it's good that he slips, good for the Texans rather, that he slips, I think, to pick number 27 here. And I think they jump on him and take him. And he's a guy who's supremely talented, and I think he'll do well down in Houston, teaming up with Matt Schaub, Andre Johnson, and Arian Foster. Pick number 28 belongs to the Broncos. Not to beat up on Raheem Moore, because I think this was an issue for the Broncos before that Joe Flacco 70-yard touchdown pass to Jacoby Jones in the divisional round, but they have a needed safety. I think Vaccaro is off the board at this point, but I think they can get a nice player in Eric Reid, the free safety from LSU. Jonathan Cyprien and Eric Reid, I think, will be the two safeties that could get picked second here. I liked Reid a little bit better, only because of his big game experience at LSU. The fact that he had a lot of experience playing. He played a lot of games at LSU, started a lot of games at LSU. The only problem with Eric Reid is his propensity to sometimes get the big penalty, to sometimes be a little bit too aggressive. But I think that's something that John Fox, Jack Del Rio, and that coaching staff can coach him up on. I think if you ask an NFL guy, a guy's too aggressive, okay, well, we can sort of rein that in a little bit. And I think that's what they'll do there for Eric Reid, the pick at number 28 for the Denver Broncos. Pick number 29 belongs to the Patriots. Beginning to see a theme kind of occur here where, the secondary is an issue for the Patriots each and every draft. They made a good trade acquiring Aqib Talib from the Buccaneers. Still remains to be seen if they re-sign him. They're probably going to move Devin McCourty, or already have moved Devin McCourty to safety permanently. So I think they have a pretty glaring need on the other side at cornerback. I had said before that I see Desmond Trufant being the second cornerback picked behind D. Milner in this draft. I think this is where we see the third cornerback go off the board, and Xavier Rhodes from Florida State I think makes a lot of sense here for the Patriots. He's a bigger corner, a playmaking corner, something the Patriots are in some supreme desperate need of here. And I think this, again, is a good fit for them. And I look for them to take Xavier Rhodes, the corner from Florida State. At 30 is the Falcons pick. The Falcons, even more now, more than I even thought before. I thought their biggest need was someone else on the defensive line to go opposite John Abraham. Now that they've cut John Abraham, I think defensive end is the pick here. I know you're going to have a lot of people say, well, what about running back? I don't think there's a running back worth going in the first round. I think the Falcons can get a nice compliment to Jacquizz Rodgers in the second round. Corner, again, they cut Dante Robinson. I don't think there's a corner worth taking with this first-round pick. Defensive end's a pretty deep position in this draft. I think they go Alex Okafor, the defensive end from Texas. Again, is he going to be John Abraham, his first snap in the league? No, John Abraham's been a good pass rusher in this league for a while. He's even a guy who could come back on a reduced deal as well. That's something to watch out for. But I like Alex Okafor, the DN from Texas, to go 30 to the Falcons. Pick number 31 belongs to the 49ers. The 49ers own anywhere between 13 and 15 picks in this draft, depending on compensatory picks. They'll have this pick here at 31, and then remember, pick number 34, they're reportedly going to trade for in that trade, the Alex Smith trade with the Chiefs. I think you saw when Justin Smith got hurt this year, a little bit of a vulnerability in how deep their defensive line is. It affected their pass rush overall. It affected Aldon Smith on the other side. So look for them to add some depth to the defensive line and sort of a Justin Smith clone in Margus Hunt, the defensive end from SMU. 6'8", 270, ran a 4.6 some odd 40 at the combine. He's like Justin Miller with a little bit more speed, which when you think about that is pretty scary actually. So I think he's a guy who could learn a lot from Justin Smith. They sort of have the same body type. I think he can get in there with those other guys in that San Francisco defense, and he's sort of that rough, athletic player that they've built that defense around. So Margus Hunt, pick number 31, defensive end to the 49ers. Pick 32 belongs to the Ravens. When Alec Ogletree got that DUI, I thought right away, oh, this guy's going to slip. Where would he slip to? I think that he slips past the Packers, and the only other team that could jump on Ogletree here is the Packers, and I don't think they will. I think, as I said before, they'll take Arthur Brown from Kansas State. So I like the Ravens to jump on Ogletree here. I think sort of like Jimmy Smith was thought to be an attitude problem a couple years ago. I think you get Alec Ogletree around some of those veterans, even if Reid and Lewis are gone. You still have Suggs, you still have Nada, you still have a guy like Donnell Ellerby, who should be stepping into those leadership roles. You have guidance there. You have good coaching staff there. Alec Ogletree, the inside linebacker, middle linebacker from Georgia. He's the fastest linebacker, probably sideline to sideline in this draft. I think he'd be a top 20 pick if not for the off-the-field problems, both the DUI arrest, and then earlier in the season he was suspended at the University of Georgia as well. So I think the Ravens get a nice player here, Alec Ogletree, linebacker from Georgia. And if they can keep him out of trouble, I think he'll be a gem. That's picks 21 through 32. Be sure to check out the rest of the first round. Guys, I'm going to go right into the second round here, the top of the second round with my next video. So be sure to subscribe to my channel here. All 7 rounds will be predicted right here on my YouTube channel. So when you subscribe, again, you get my videos uploaded directly to you. Thanks as always for listening, guys, and have a great day.